Oh, do you have time for an interview? An elected prosecutor in southern Indiana has refused to sit down with me for weeks to discuss a case she was appointed to investigate.
And I think the outcome is completely wrong.
Doug Carter retired in January as head of the Indiana State Police. He's talking about the Dubois County Sheriff Tom Kleinhelter case.
Anyone else in Indiana would have been arrested, period.
In July 2024, the Indiana State Board of Accounts found Kleinhelter improperly spent nearly $17,000 from his jail commissary from 2019 to 2023. An audit shows he was taking his wife to law enforcement conferences with him, paying for her airfare and registration on the county dime. He spent nearly $8,000 buying Blackstone grills and Visa gift cards for his deputies. The audit said those purchases were not allowed by Indiana law.
It's not an account that you can just use with whatever you want.
Kleinhelter paid back the full amount the audit identified 1 month before it came out. Then a state police investigation began under Carter's watch. Detective Troy Stanton was the lead investigator.
The issue with the Stanton efforts was that there was no documentation done. There wasn't a case report completed. There were only a few cursory interviews that were done.
Carter asked Lieutenant Jeff Herron to step in, who was at the time the lead investigator in the Jamie Knoll case in Clark County.
Jeff just finished the most complicated one in our history. And I initially asked Jeff, Jeff, hey, look, just peer review this with him. And that didn't seem to be working at all.
Carter says he formally appointed Herron and removed Stanton in September 2024. Hi, Troy. This is Travis Breeze with WHAS11 News. I tried to reach Stanton for his side, and he did not respond. In one of Herron's search warrants, which is a public document, he alleged another $8,700 in improper spending, which Kleinhelter then repaid. He accused the sheriff of lying about getting airline points instead of cash when canceling a flight in an attempt to not reimburse the commissary. He also found Kleinhelter attempted to make his wife a special deputy after all the spending.
He was going to do things that were impractical and probably illegal.
Kleinhelter has also declined an interview with Focus for this story, but I did speak to him briefly last Monday. Do you feel like there's things you're not allowed to say? Who's not allowing you to say that? He said it was at the advice of his attorney. The sheriff never faced any charges, but Carter is challenging how the case ended. According to emails Focus received from a records request, the special prosecutor, Holly Huddleston of Orange County, had a private meeting with Kleinhelter and his attorney to discuss the closure of the case. She said all the money was returned and Kleinhelter cleared up some inconsistencies in the case. Would it have been common practice for the lead detective in the case to be involved in any meeting of that capacity?
Oh my gosh, yeah, the detective that did all the work for sure.
I interviewed Carter again after getting this email chain. Detective Herron pushed back when he learned the case would be closed with no charges. He asked for his own meeting with Huddleston and said Troy Stanton did not do an adequate job. Huddleston forwarded Jeff's email to Stanton, who was no longer on the case.
There's a tremendous amount of this that makes no sense to me whatsoever.
After avoiding Focus for over a month, we found Huddleston coming back from a lunch break last Monday. We just got your email chain with Jeff Herron that you forwarded to Troy Stanton. I just wondered if you could comment on why you would forward this information to someone who's no longer the lead detective on the case.
It had to do with Troy. It was pertaining to Troy as well, so I just forwarded it to him.
Why did you hold a meeting to discuss the closure of the case without Jeff? That's all the response I got. Stanton forwarded the email to the new assistant superintendent of ISP, saying he and Huddleston had discussed it, and to say the least, she and I are not happy. What do you think Troy and Huddleston are unhappy about?
The truth. The truth.
What do you think the truth is?
In some way or in some form, they decided that this case would go away.
ISP leadership politely declined my offer for an interview, referring me back to Huddleston. In July 2025, Court records show Jeff Herron was disciplined for being overbearing in his email to Holly Huddleston and disclosing information to Dubois County officials during the investigation. Carter says he was just doing his job.
But Jeff's now got to explain this in pending homicide trials. He's got to explain this in the Jamie Knoll case. They ruined a guy. They put a mark on a 40-year guy that didn't deserve it.
Herron's attorney gave Focus a statement saying, in part, his top-tier work product was set aside for an unknown reason and disciplinary charges were manufactured. The number of people who won't talk about this case alarms Carter.
I've not had any conversation or response at all. My number's the same. Don't expect them to call me.
He says he'll keep talking until everyone owns their part of the investigation. With photojournalist Aspen Hester, Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.